Some families inherit money, others inherit land, but in the hill-shadowed city of Cromby, just north of the dead woods that claw through LOCHOLLOW, there is a family who inherited sight. Not metaphorically, somewhat spiritually, but quite literally. Dreg Hill is a place most LOCHOLLOW maps forget. It's cold even in summer, and when it rains it doesn't stop for days. At its peak sits a house that hasn't welcomed visitors in decades, the Gwyn estate. Its windows are dark, the curtains don't sway. From what little anyone has seen, its doors don't ever open from the inside. The family who built it, the Gwyns, were once LOCHOLLOW royalty in all but name. Old money, judicial power, friends in the clergy, their influence reached across courts and countryside alike. In the 1700s, they were praised as visionaries, cultured, enlightened, but in Cromby, they were feared. Then, slowly, it all fell apart. In the mid-1800s, the Gwyns stopped appearing in town altogether. Invitations were sent, but never answered. The bloodline thinned. Over the years, rumours of inbreeding began to circulate. Locals claimed the children born on Dreg Hill were sickly, fragile, and their skin too pale, their bones too soft, their eyes too wide. Some said the family had started keeping their youngest in the house's west wing, away from the windows, away from view, not out of protection, but out of shame. By the 20th century, the once noble Gwyns were a ghost family. No marriages, no funerals, no heirs seen in public for over 50 years. And yet, in every family portrait, and in every generation, those same eyes appear again.
Residents of LOCHOLLOW, it is your time and your duty to bear arms. If you are ever in doubt, remember what they have removed. Residents of LOCHOLLOW, bear arms, bear...
According to what remains of the Gwyn family ledger, when the eldest relative dies, the eyes are removed and sewn into the head of the next oldest living relative, replacing their own eyes.
So the eyes of Eleonora may never shut to the world.
A phrase found time and again in journals and diaries belonging to the family. If this is to be believed, the same pair of eyes have watched the world change for over 300 years. Most of what we understand about the Gwyn family's practices comes not from rumour but from documentation. Hundreds of pages of letters, diaries, ledgers and transcribed rituals that were unearthed in 2017 during a formal estate seizure. These writings were quietly passed to the LOCHOLLOW Institute, who in 2020 released them as part of a larger archival project. The contents were never formally announced, but for those who searched, the truth was waiting. Detailed notes on anatomical transfer, funeral procedures, witness testimonies from staff, and most chilling of all, entries from the family themselves. Of the 51 rooms in the Gwyn estate, fewer than 6 were ever used. Everything else remained still, curated like an open casket memory.
I tend to the henges in the north garden, where the woods bend in too close, and I'd swear I saw something tall in the mist. Just past the tree line, I thought it was a deer first, but...
I asked young Thomas once, years before it was his turn, if he really wanted it, the eyes, and he went quiet, said, "No one ever asks what we want." He looked up at the house and, like he was wise someone was listening. But that's a kid's mind for you, isn't it? Sometimes I think, whatever's out there, beyond the wall, it took something from them and left the rest of us to watch them carry it.
In 1989, there is evidence to suggest the ritual went wrong. The recipient was Thomas Gwyn, 63 years old, known locally for preaching to empty rooms. Within days of receiving the sight, he lost the ability to identify himself in reflections. He didn't know where he was or why he was still alive. Before his death, only weeks later, he was often found staring at a mirror and weeping. In his final journal entry, Thomas claimed he could see into the past. He spoke of the original matriarch, Eleanor Gwyn, who began this family tradition as she dreamt of seeing forever in 1703 when her brother inherited her eyes.
I see her wedding night, the rain, the lake behind the house, her breathing, fogging the glass as he climbs. I wasn't born yet, and I still see it. And then pain.
There are entries in the earliest Gwyn journals that have been blacked out with soot and wax, pages glued shut, ink scraped away, but fragments remain, moments that have been recovered by the LOCHOLLOW Institute archives. The most disturbing of these accounts speaks of what Eleanora may have seen at the end of her lifetime. In her final weeks, Eleanora refused food, spoke to no one, and kept her face pressed to the attic window, watching something beyond the edge of the Gwyn land. Servants would hear her whisper,
It's taller now. I can see it behind the wall. It has so many teeth.
Then, 3 nights before her death, she screamed so loud the staff thought she was being murdered. But when they burst into the room, there was no one there, no mark on her, just Eleanora staring up at the ceiling, her mouth open, her tongue bitten through, blood trickling down her neck as she smiled at the help. Her final journal entry before she passed read,
It stood where the world forgets itself, and it looked back at me, and now it sees.
Some say she died of fright. Others say she was taken by the very thing she once summoned. But the truth is harder to define. Whatever Eleanora saw in those final hours, it wasn't meant for her time, and that may be the true horror of the inheritance. You don't see what Eleanora once saw, you see what she is still seeing. In 2017, the last Gwyn heir disappeared. Anna Gwyn, tragically young at 24. Shortly after the search for her had begun, she posted an erratic video to her social pages, whistleblowing the Gwyn's family tradition and claiming it has never been voluntary.
They said it would be mine. They said I would do it next. I don't want to do it. I don't want to do it. I don't want to do it. Do you hear? And now everybody will know I'm Childa's now. So you have to take my eyes. I never wanted to be part of this family. No, this was our choice. They know.
During renovations, workers discovered a sealed room behind the third floor gallery. Inside were 28 glass jars, each filled with a pair of human eyes. Some floated in cloudy formaldehyde, others had rotted into dark marbles of flesh, and one jar was empty. Today, hikers near Dreg Hill often report strange sightings and has quickly become a modern urban legend. A tall figure, pale with knee-length hair and blindfolded, walking just beyond the tree line. It's often seen bumping into trees, but will always turn towards the sound of footsteps.
It's better than seeing Bigfoot, honestly. We were trying to think of a name for her, really. It's like, we've got Blindy Walker, and we've got, what was the other we thought of? What was the other one? No, it was The Blinded. Yeah, we like that one.
I've seen it, like, crying into its hands. Like, sort of crying when you feel that there's no hope left in the world. Like, everything's gone. Everything is just shit. That's how it looks. It looks like it's grieving.
It is suggested the Gwyn family believed the eyes carried more than vision. They believed it carried identity, memory, legacy, and ultimately the family sight. An anomaly mentioned throughout the ledger and diary entries, with no further explanation. We may never have a definitive answer to this mystery, but in the end, maybe the sight just carried Eleonora, the original, the first, the one who saw too much and forgot how to fall. If you were to visit Dreg Hill today, tomorrow, or next week, don't knock on the door, don't call out, and above all, if something answers,